Like many contributors on YouTube, I find inspiration on other channels. After watching a video converting a Hot Wheels car for tabletop game Gaslands Refueled, I had to find out more about this game. Flipping through the pages made me nostalgic for when I was a kid watching Mad Max, The Road Warrior, and that third movie.
Welcome to Thunderdome, bitch.
With the recent films being such box office hits, I was riding the wave of resurgence of this game, originally released in 2017. I was flooded with ideas for new teams, new sponsors. I couldn't wait to get started, and everywhere I went, I was hunting for cars. I plan to do more videos for Gaslands, showing my progress on both the models and the learning of the game. So stay tuned and... Episode 60. Gaslands, Wyld Boyz vs. Death Race. My son, our friend, and I got time to play our second game of Gaslands Refueled, and we had a blast, rookie mistakes and all. We chose the Death Race, and each of us planned out our teams. I chose the Volvo Recharge and Drift and Brake Hot Wheel casts I found while in Brazil. After stripping and accessorizing and priming them up, it was time to paint. I started on the Volvo first. It kind of looked a bit like my car, so I decided to paint it red. Not a usual color for the apocalypse, but hey, you do you. I chose to use Pro Acrylic Burnt Red for the base, as it is more of a rust red that'll hang around the edges of almost every post-apocalyptic vehicle. With the base layer down, I moved on to Pro Acrylic Bold Pyro Red and thinned it down a bit more than I had with the burnt red. I wanted to add thin layers building up the main color while keeping the shadows that darker red. With the body painted up, it was time to paint the weapons, starting with the rocket launcher. Since I'm guessing in the dystopian future all rockets are military surplus, I chose Pro Acryl's dark yellow-green for the main housing. Following that up with some Pro Acryl's red-orange for the rockets, I added multiple layers to get an even coat. I know previously I chose not to use bright colors for Gaslands, the whole grimdark future and everything, but then I thought, just because your teams clash doesn't mean your colors should. Last bit to do were the lenses for the top mounted lights. Starting with Pro Acryl's blue as a base, I slowly added highlight layers of Pro Acryl's gray blue and white blue. Moving on to the roof-mounted minigun, specifically the ammunition, I used Pro Acryl's light bronze for the casings and Pro Acryl's copper for the bullets. For the triple barrels, I went with Pro Acryl's dark bronze for a discolored look, leaving the shadows as a primer black. I was giving the body so much attention that I decided to work on the chassis so it wouldn't feel left out. I began with Pro Acryl's magnesium for the exhaust pipes, which has been my standard for the pipes since the beginning. After the exhaust was done, I went over the tires with more of the satin black, cleaning up the lines and edges. As a member of the Wyld Boyz, it's only fitting to display the skulls of your enemies on the front of your vehicle. After using Pro Acryl's bone for the ram-mounted skulls, I sprayed the body and chassis with Army Painter matte finish and followed that up with a quick coat over the skulls with Army Painter's sepia tone. Now it was time for a full wash with Army Painter's dark tone on the rest of the chassis and over the body as well. Once the model had time to scent, I went back over it with Pro Acryl's steel, adding nicks, scuffs, scrapes, scratches, ricochets, and all kinds of battle damage to the Red Rocket, first member of the Wyld Boyz. Pulling the drift-in brake back into the garage, I started with a coat of Pro Acryl's Dark Plum for the base. Hoping for a similar effect as I got on the Red Rocket, I started adding thin layers of Pro Acryl's Dark Purple, keeping the Dark Plum as the shadow color. Before I got too much further on the bodywork, and not wanting to neglect the chassis this time, I wanted to add some of the Army Painter's oil stains effects onto the engine. This adds that grimy, barely holding it together look. With the oil in place, I started working on the rest of the chassis, specifically the weapons. I used more dark silver on the side-mounted machine guns, trying to keep the shadows primer black. I wanted to attach the front ram before I completed the chassis, so I worked on the skulls by adding Pro Acryl's khaki. That way the skulls were different for each vehicle. Moving back to the body, I added some more dark purple to spots that I had missed or areas that had dried too thin. Once the car was whole, I started to clean up the lines and bleed over on the wheels using more satin black before moving on to the other accessories. Using more of the copper, I spiced up the tanks on the roof by painting the tie-down straps. After completing the rocket launcher to match the other one, I covered the skulls with a wash of sepia tone and then moved on to the dark tone wash. After covering the model with a dark tone wash, I added the obligatory nicks, scuffs, scrapes, scratches, and ricochets, and all kinds of battle damage with more of the steel. With the Bruiser Cruiser ready for the arena, it was time to get the team ready to rumble. The Wyld Boyz were ready to go. Bruiser was using the car stats and Rocket was going to be a truck. My son chose a performance car and a truck, and our friend chose a car and a monster truck. This was going to be fun. We all lined up. Well, why do I always go last? We all lined up and set our sights on victory. The flag dropped. We stomped the pedal, squeezed the trigger, and went for total carnage. By gear 3, we barely cleared the first gate and had totaled almost all of our vehicles. And then this happened.
We're still learning. But because we're doing death race, and probably should have read an extra page, our weapons are inactive until we hit gate 1.
Oh,
Okay, let's try this again. They were lined and primed, so let's pull the pin and go! Round 1, first gear was pretty straightforward. Literally. My son and I chose the medium straight while our friend decided to hold back and use the short straight. But we did all upshift. I'm pretty sure after the carnage from our false start, we had the same idea. Get the weapons active first. Round 2, second gear started the same way, with my son using the medium template to gain some ground. He took a bit of a risk and rolled some skid dice to try and gain an advantage, but it backfired, causing him to slide at the end of his movement. Sometimes it's not always good to go first. On her second gear, our friend decided to use a gentle turn to avoid the spinning performance car. She decided not to press her luck and didn't roll any skid dice. Now it's time for the Bruiser Cruiser to get in the game and get past the first gate. Also using the gentle turn, Bruiser was hoping to line up with the performance car in the hopes that he was not there when it moved again. My son chose the swerve template and misjudged the distance, causing a collision window with our friend's car. Turning a bad situation into a possible advantage, he hit the car with full force. They traded paint, damage, and I hope insurance information, then proceeded to resume racing. My friend sent her monster truck barreling after my son's truck for some payback. Meanwhile, Bruiser saw a gap in the field and decided to try and thread the needle, putting the pedal to the metal. Kicking off round 1, gear 3, my son tried to get himself straightened out. Again, the odds were not in his favor, but instead of sliding out, he instead finished his move with a spin. Hoping to either catch up or straighten her car out, our friend chose the turn template and rolled some skid dice. She managed to slide on that movement, but avoided the head-on that she was driving directly towards. Bruiser still saw that opening, but it was getting smaller, so it was go time, and I used the medium template to launch myself forward into the first gate. Since I was already kind of pushing it, I chose not to roll skid dice and play it calm. After my son launched his truck forward, a friend decided to go after Rocket with a monster truck. This was gonna hurt. Wait, I don't remember ordering a T-bone. I'm vegan. Wanting to get the hell away from that damn monster truck, I decided to face off against my son's truck instead. Using a swerve template, I managed to get away from the metal Hulk and nudge my son's truck in a different direction. I managed to do just enough damage for a wipeout, and he failed the flip roll, causing more damage as he slammed into the wall. What? I was just sharing my momentum with another player. Is that such a bad thing? At the top of round 1, gear 4, Bruiser found himself the only one in 4th gear, and it was time to put some distance on the rest. I used the gentle turn and managed to cross gate 1, activating my weapons. Sadly, there were no targets, so this time it was all about the speed. Round 1, gears 5 and 6 had no active vehicles, so it was time to start the next round. Round 2, gear 1, my son tried yet again to get his performance car to perform, but went head-on into a stack of crates, took damage, and wiped out, dropping back into gear 1. Since he had passed gate 1, he was able to vent his frustration with some bullets. Her friend was also trying to straighten her car out and activate weapons, so she used the turn template to miss the wall and my son's car without using skid dice or shifting up. Now was Bruiser's chance to try and maneuver, but I was going too fast, so I took the slightest turn allowed in gear 4 and still managed to tap the wall. But I was more or less going in the right direction. It was time for my son to get his truck back in the game and use the hairpin turn. He managed to get turned around and slam into our friend's car. After the collision window got resolved, it was guns blazing for all of us. Apparently, Rocket did something to piss off the monster truck. May have involved threats of a soon-to-be active roof-mounted heavy machine gun. So she came right at my tailgate and slammed into both me and a pile of barrels, dealing damage to both of us. Forcing me to swerve again, I ended up running straight into gate 1 and, crossing the plane, activated my weapons before getting a wipeout and attempting the hokey pokey. In round 2, gear 2, now that her weapons were active, our friend was trying to maintain control over her car with the turn template. Instead of risking the skid dice, she chose to stay in 4th gear and shoot anything she could reach. With the car hot on his heels, Bruiser tried another gentle turn in 4th gear to get away from the wall. I also chose not to risk the skid dice and stayed in 4th gear, which was something I wish I hadn't done. More on that later. With my son's truck getting straightened out, it was our friend's turn, and apparently she was only seeing red. Charging straight at Rocket, the monster truck didn't hold back. Was it something I said? Since I was a sitting duck and gonna take damage either way, I chose to deal some back and managed to wipe out the monster truck. Starting round 2, gear 3, my son's performance car still couldn't take action, so it was on to our friend's car, which had been keeping up with Bruiser so far. She chose the turn template and played it cool with no skid dice and lots of gunfire. Seeing the competition was catching up, I grabbed the medium template and boosted Bruiser forward. I was able to fire a rocket back at my friend's car and managed to knock off a hull point or two. Round 2, gear 4 had everyone unable to act but our friend's car and Bruiser. She tried to slip past me, but ended up spinning out and slamming into a heavyweight obstruction. The wipeout was inevitable. Bruiser checked the rear view and saw the chaos. Time to add some distance. This is about the time we took a break, and I didn't resume recording because I wanted to get right back into the game, and I lost focus on the video. I took some pictures, just not a lot. Round 2, gears 5 and 6 had no active vehicles, so they ended the round. On round 3, gear 1, we were all back in the race, and my son got his performance car moving again. Our friend managed to get her car almost pointed in the right direction. Bruiser reversed with the small template and crossed over gate 2. My son got his truck turned around, as did the monster truck and Rocket, bringing up the rear. We started spreading out, so shooting wasn't a priority, but if we could reach, we shot. Round 3, Gear 2 had my son continuing his performance car turnaround while upshifting and shooting everything within reach. Our friend continued to get her car pointed in the right direction, but managed to spin and flip, sending her car into the wall. As this was too much damage for her car, she wrecked at the end of her slide. Bruiser grinned, eyes wide, as he saw the car become one with the wall. My son was able to get his truck going and was started after Brewster, pretty sure it wasn't going to be a sociable conversation. Since Rocket was not going to win, he decided it would cause as much damage as possible for the fans and turn the wrong way towards Gate 2. The friends seemed to have the same thing in mind, so Rocket followed her, and they made their way back across to ruin someone's day. Round 3, Gear 3 had my son's performance car in need of some performance enhancers, but he was heading in the right direction and making up some ground. Bruiser mashed the gas again with the medium template and could almost smell the Ratburger stand just beyond the finish line. With reckless abandon, the monster truck tries a hairpin away from a heavyweight obstacle. Risky and bold, this did not pay off, and she ended up wrecked at the edge of Gate 1. As her monster truck slid to a stop, you could hear the ding notification that her weapons were armed, just as all the power leaves her vehicle. Meanwhile, Rocket managed to avoid both obstacles and maintain control, but was laughing maniacally as the monster truck came to its final rest. Round 3, Gear 4 started with my son, yet again, trying to avoid the wall with one of the luckiest maneuvers yet. The hairpin turn just allowed him enough room not to collide with the wall. The whole arena was impressed and on their feet. Just in time to watch Bruiser swerve across the finish line for the win. We had a blast playing and decided to start our own championship. Stay tuned for progress on how that goes. We're still in the planning stages, but we have an idea for our teams and sponsors. I hope you enjoyed the video. I know it was a long one, but I had fun bringing it to you. As always, let me know what you think in the comments below. Subscribe to stay tuned. Follow us on social media. Be excellent to each other. And remember, they ain't gonna paint themselves.